Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. This is Success with Srini.
Welcome back to Success with Srini. Happy Monday morning to you. This morning on the podcast, we are talking about morning routines. If there is one thing that I have done ever since this podcast has started as a daily podcast from the beginning of this year, over the last 5 months, the only one thing that I have done is consistently kept on tweaking my morning routine. Why? When you have a successful morning routine, you control the day. The first 60 minutes will control the next 23 hours. Very, very powerful. You get control of the first 60, 90, 120 minutes of the day. Well, you can define your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual state. It's powerful. It's amazing. Go back in time, study all the successful people, study the successful people that you have now in the news, in the media, in the current times. All of them are successful because they have good morning routines. Hence, I kept on tweaking, changing, modifying to get to a level where I have full control over my whole day. Recently, I made a tweak, and this tweak, I call it the Retrospect Commit Loop. I'm going to break it up, each word, and I'll explain each word in its entirety. Let's talk about commit. See, you made a commitment long time ago when you set goals. Whether you set goals or you did not set goals, you made some kind of a commitment. And today's life, whatever life you have, is a reflection of a commitment that you made or you did not make. So let's assume for a second that you did make a commitment. You set a goal for yourself at the beginning of this year, or maybe at the beginning of this month, or maybe at the beginning of this week, and you are working every day, you're taking action towards achieving that goal. So there is a commitment. How weak and how strong is that commitment? That's debatable. But let's assume that you do have a commitment in place to achieve a certain outcome, to achieve a certain result. This is what I found out. When I get up in the morning and I renew my commitment towards the goals, it seems I have better control over my day, my observation. So I look into all the goals that I have set for myself. I have several goals that I have set for myself that are temporary. That means they are immediate, and some that are a little bit longer, and some that have a long duration. I revisit those goals every day in the morning. Lately, in the last 6 weeks, I have been doing this. Incredible results. What happens and why this is different? Well, it turns out that in the past, every time I set some goals and I was working, I was missing the emotional component. I was missing the emotional element. So there were a set of dominant emotions at the beginning. That's why I set the goal. So there were some emotions that were leading me to set that goal. So I did set that goal. But then I forgot about those emotions. And now I become mechanical. Every day I wake up and I do what I have to do to get to that goal. And I don't feel it anymore. So renewing my commitment on a daily basis aligns me, gives me a purpose obviously, but then aligns me and keeps me in the game. So the first step is to renew my commitment to my goals every day I wake up. So I want you to try this. The second thing, which is the pursuit, is to connect the emotions to the goals. It's not about the pursuit of the goal. The pursuit of the goal is happening anyway. But then I take the first few minutes and I want to recollect that emotion and connect that emotion to my goal, and then everything thereafter becomes easier. So the action that I'm taking, or I was taking in the past, was sometimes strenuous, sometimes it was hard. But now the same action today, with this emotion being connected to the goal and me taking the action, that action is less painful, less strenuous on me. Big difference. I hope I'm coming across. Now let's talk about the retrospect for a second. What is a retrospect? Well, this is also a small little thing that I do now as a part of my morning routine, which is I look at my past successes. I wake up in the morning at some point in time in the first 60 minutes. I look into all the past successes I had. And then I also look into some of the recent wins. the recent wins, recent successes that I had. And then some of the failures and some of the lessons as a result of those failures. I want to revisit them. I do these three things. When I look into my past successes, they strengthen my self-esteem. When I look into my recent wins, they gives me confidence. My confidence increases or held intact. And then when I look into my recent lessons that I took or failures I encountered, and as a result of that, there is a lesson I took, that establishes my growth pattern, kind of puts the seed of growth into my thinking. So growth, confidence, and self-esteem, three things as a part of my retrospect. Now, where does this retrospect come from? This retrospect comes from project management, specifically from agile methodology inside project management. As a part of the Scrum practice, they do retrospects at the end of 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. If you are in software development specifically or in IT, you may know this. So what happens is, as a project, all the project members come together, and once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks, they do a retrospect where technically they're introspecting. So they look into things, they ask 3 questions. They say, what has worked in the last 2 weeks or last 1 week? What did not work? And why did not work? 3 questions. I took that principle of asking those 3 questions and I started applying them in self-improvement in my life. And it does many things, but then by looking into your past successes and your recent wins, the frame is very powerful. Early in the morning, the brain strengthens in a different way. And the rest of the day becomes easier because now you're leading it by connecting your emotions to the goals. And I do this multiple times. That's why I call it a loop. So I want you to try this or try it in some bits and pieces. And I want you to let me know if you are a subscriber to this podcast. Then do let me know that, I listened to all the past episodes and I listened to this episode and I did try this and I got this result. So I will wait for your feedback. And that's all. You have a wonderful Monday and I'll catch you tomorrow early. Take care. Bye now.